some get to it. And Angela had sent out an email about topics for our newsletter. Is that something you'd like to discuss or just send those in? One of my classmates told me that she was on
Yeah.
and she, I thought it was, yeah, like to put it in this spot. Yeah. So it's like, that was the only thing that I had wrote on here. It's going through my emails, because there's so much stuff that happens in last month with this. And then I know I had saw that, and she was the next. So, I had just wrote something last night. I was going through it, I was like,
Meeting to order. This is a regular city council meeting, Monday, September 8th, 7 p.m. If you can please rise. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for
So as you can see, we're down one tonight, so as acting appointed mayor, I'll be running the meeting. So for roll call, we have everyone here present except for the mayor. And then we'll move on to the agenda. There were some items on the table, and I would just like to make note, the insurance item we'll be talking about under Angela's report. There's a bill number 197, we're gonna put that there. We've got a special event added at the end from the school. We will add that at the end, and then I would like to move item 414, the surplus items. We're going to move that right on first thing under the staff committee reports is what I have. So if anyone else has any other items they need to add.
Approve the agendas with changes.
Motion made in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We've got the consent agenda in front of you with the minutes, reports, the bills to pay, going through the September calendar, all to be included in the consent agenda. Is there anything that anyone needs to talk about? Pull out?
That was good. So I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda and pay the bills of $519,856.72.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public hearings, we have none. Petitions, requests, none. Ordinance resolutions, none. So we will move right into item 414. I think that was something you wanted to talk about, Craig?
Yep.
Okay.
I know last week we had brought up, we had ordered that new trailer, we were gonna trade off our existing trailer to sell it that way. I know in the past, we didn't do anything internal in the department because we just said we weren't gonna do it. After that happened, 2 weeks later, John Swinstead had a shed fire, lost everything. So he asked me about the trailer, so that's when I brought it up to Angela, about somebody off the department if we could sell it like that, but that's where it kind of got brought up. You know, a lot of it's went on sealed bids, a lot of it's went back and forth, I mean, so and I know she brought up after we were talking about just getting clarification for the future for everyone. You know, so.
Have any comments on that in regards? I think it could be opening a can of worms if And again, I get it, he's served on the fire department, we appreciate what he's done,
No, and that's why I just
My
brought it up,
initial
I just,
comments.
I don't have a problem with it, he's just, like, tell him if it doesn't work out,
Yep.
well, there, you can buy it,
Yep,
you know what it is, you know, so. But I thought, well, I'm gonna ask and,
sure.
you know,
I think one thing I'd like to mention, Laura, just a little bit, just in this research, I gave you a couple pages of information there, but basically what it says is if it's under a $25,000 value, you can sell on open market, either competitive bid. Of course, the best option is a public auction, something everybody has available, but you can put like a value of a price on something and say it's for sale. However, you have to have it actively, on the open market, so you can't say it's for sale, hey, you come buy it, and then it's done, so.
gotta be close.
It gets to be sometimes a challenge not to just have the bidding process, so that's why I pulled it all in there. And one thing that it did say is just the city to pass a resolution when you had things, and at that time you could decide between whatever option you wanted to do, how you're gonna sell it. So each time you can kind of make a decision based on what value it is, so, with this type of item, if Craig's fine with just going with what he was, it's fine, but maybe for future, we just wanna look at how do we wanna deal with these situations? Cause I'll get questions on $100 things too, and it's like, well, what do you do with it? You just put in the paper and say anybody will buy these. That's why we try to get like an auction in the spring with things, because then we have more stuff, so.
I just think consistency more than anything.
Yes.
I think we should, at a certain value, do it a certain way so that it doesn't come back to bite us. So,
No, and I'm okay with that, I just had asked him, and said,
sure.
you know. Okay,
Spoken that, and talk about it.
I can bring it up at the next meeting, and it even mentions in there about having some type of policy, so this is how we like you to address these things, and that way it's not like you're asking every time what
Sure.
or something.
be a set standard or set policy
Right.
following through
Yeah.
for every
Maybe,
department.
maybe we should
I could
look
get some
at getting
draft
some
ones.
sort of
Yeah.
policy that can just be implemented across the board,
Yep, okay.
if that sounds okay.
Okay, well, exactly, when you said that it's fair.
No, I'm okay with that, so,
Thank you.
thank you.
Is there anything else we need to talk about with this?
No, it's mostly information,
Information.
just to understand the rules and laws.
Alright, moving on then to budget. And we're putting the insurance in with that.
Yeah, it's part of what I figured, so, I guess to start out, I'm just gonna talk about the 25 one just briefly. The council had our budget meeting the end of August. We went through both 26 and 25. So as you remember, we had some numbers that we're gonna have to come up with because of our deficit we would have at the end of the year in 25. So we had talked about making some changes, which included some cuts. And included taking some more money from a savings, to make it balanced, so. In the sheets there, I did try to highlight which one was 25 and had amended. You can see the items that were changed, there's some wages that, of course, were changed up, and then we had some items that were reduced. And all in all, then it came to balancing our budget so that we would have enough revenues and expenditures for that year. One thing being that we increased funds that we received. We got some money from the COVID money that we still had balanced, and then also taking some money from the liquor store and then some savings. So in addition to doing some budget cuts, we did those three things to balance that number for this year. And we talked about that at our meeting. Any questions on that part of it? Others will move on to 26. So then 2026, we went through our budget. We did ask each department to give us some top 3 scenarios of things they could reduce for the first year or for 1 year and make it, work for this year. So everybody came with some ideas of some changes. So we did make those changes. And then also we increased or are proposing to increase the levy 5%, which is $44,009. And also take additional $15,000 from our reserve to help balance that budget. This does also include $20,000 from our liquor store again, the funds that they have. And then also with the expenditures, there was items in there that I tried to highlight, changes to the budget, that we reduced some things to try to tighten everything up for 1 year to help out with not having such an increase. One thing is like the insurance thing I put on the table tonight, we did find out that after our budget meeting, I had budgeted 6% and it's actually going up 12.25%. So I did change the expenditures to reflect that. And then I upped the amount of savings that we would take a little bit more to cover it. It was about $4,000 difference from what I budgeted in the first place. So that is a change that you see in there. And as we talked in our budget meeting, this is a preliminary budget. We're trying to get our numbers so that we can get a levy to the county by the end of September. And then we can still work on this. Our final one is in December. So if we want to make some changes or we find out maybe we don't need to do certain projects, then we can make a change to the budget. But we can always go down on our levy, but we can't go up. So that's why we discussed having a 5% increase at this time. So if you guys have any questions while you're looking through it or concerns, otherwise we're just looking for tonight to approve the amended 25 budget, pass the 26 budget, and then pass the preliminary levy for 26.
So just out of curiosity with this insurance, since insurance is going up in general, which I 100% get, because I hear that, I mean, even my insurance goes up. Is it something that we have options to look around at different carriers, or are we pretty limited as to what kind of carriers we would have?
Well, with ours, the information I gave you tonight, it's 12.25%. We are with Lakes Country Service Co-op, which is a co-op consortium that they actually co-op with the whole state of Minnesota. And that's how they keep their rates at the level they're at. However, when I asked them, well, we're getting 12%, which is actually higher than we've ever seen. And they said that this is actually one of the better rates they're seeing is 12%, unfortunately. And so then I asked our Al from our AT group, who was our insurance agent, he said that every other one was doing double digits higher in increases. He is going to supply me with cost analysis for comparable plans with different carriers, so Blue Cross or whatever, but the co-op is only with Medica.
Okay.
So they contract with them. There is in your packet information. You go to one of the last pages here, there's a whole list of these small print sheet that says all the plans that they offer. And the one that we have is the highlighted one.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a deductible plan. It's a single person pays $3,400 out of pocket before anything's covered by insurance. Somebody that has family pays $6,800 out of pocket before anything's covered by insurance.
Okay.
And then that qualifies for an HSA, so you can put money into the HSA to help pay for that at the time. So that's the plan we currently are on. So you can look, you know, the rates that are there. There is 2 lines. There's a passport, if you look on there. Passport and then an ECC. They're different like networks. And when I looked at the ECC, the network that is in Alamere and Broadway Clinic is not even in their network. Nobody in Sauk Center, nobody in Glenwood. So I don't know that would be very efficient for anybody to be involved in. But I did check to see if possibly changing the network would help us, but they would have to go to St. Cloud or something like that. we're probably too far from there, so, but he is gonna give me some rates just so that I can show what it is, but right now, this is what we have, like I said, it's in there, it's preliminary, but doesn't mean we find something better, we can't make that change.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 amended budget as presented and transfer the funds from the 511 and 106 funds to the general fund.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary levy for 2026 as 5%.
Second.
Motion made and seconded for the levy, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I can make a motion to approve the 2026 preliminary budget as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And if you're ever looking through it and have questions, just reach out, I can answer them. Then it's fun reading.
Next item in front of you is project number 60, which is the administrative citations. This, I believe, is just for your information. You can take a look to see where we're at on that, and I suppose is Calvin now working on that?
He's been working on it, Steve from Sourcewell came, and that's when these letters were sent out for an update, and so they updated that sheet, so if you look at the very end, you can see on 8/19 of 25 some of the things that they have done, so some extra letters were sent out, some things were completed, and some things are on hold pending, and they have their comments in there for some reason, so if there's a concern on that, I would reach out to Cal about it and see what's being done with it or why it's not addressed. You might have better information.
We've got the liquor store up next. Items. So I noticed in here we did not have the gambling report.
And Steph asked me about it too, but I didn't get it.
Okay,
When we got the check, I
okay.
reached out to Troy today to see if he had one and he didn't, but I'm gonna ask the gambling manager if he can send one to me, and then I'll just send it out so you guys can see what it was for this month, so.
Maybe I can see what the rent is, but
Yeah,
I like to
all
look
the
at
other
the,
stuff, yep.
oh, the other one there, so. Anything else on the liquor store that,
Oh, I might pull that stink.
oh,
They
Sounds
find
like they
a
did.
pipe.
Yeah, there was inside the women's bathroom, they opened up the wall and there was an old pipe, like there was an old sink in there. They just cut the pipes and took the sink out and never capped anything. So it was just stinking up through the wall.
moving on to public works, then if nobody else has any comments for that. This is just general information, it looks like.
Buildings and that and stuff. I guess.
Darren's got his list of items for August. And then the different design items. I noticed on the administrative citation, we are listed on there as they add buildings, so I think we kind of need to set some better examples and probably need to take some action on that sooner than later, because if we're expecting our citizens to do it, we need to be held to the same standards. So I think we really need to look long and hard at this and maybe just meet with Darren and let's get a realistic time frame, because I don't think the city wants to start getting administrative citations. So, is there anything else, Angela, you wanted to add to that part of it, or? do you
I
have-
think part of the information is we had gotten some cost analysis on similar type buildings, and he had on there the cost per square foot.
Yeah.
And it kind of said what type of building, so obviously their feet might be more, but the last one was the size of ours.
Yep.
So you can kind of do a calculation, say, well, if we do a pole barn style, and I times it times square foot of our building, it's gonna cost this. But then if I decide we wanna do pre-engineered metal building, it's gonna be this. You can kind of see the differences. And I think would just be up to council, kind of give some direction, what would you like to see? What option would we have, so we can get like a cost analysis from them, and then we could see about funding. And then we have to do a final design and then bid it in order for it to be final, but the biggest thing is just being able to see what kind of money are we gonna have in there and how we're gonna take care of that. So. Might be worth Tim visiting with him, and then maybe we just set up a meeting sometime, not saying in the next couple weeks, but sometime next few months here that we can talk about it more and see what the council wants to go forward and
Yeah, I'll talk to them, see if I can meet them on Friday morning.
Alright, so our next item is the water plant, which we also are including in this item number 197. There is a bill from Bureau of Engineers. We need to take care of, as well as a firewall and remote access and the water system pressure and flow control.
You know, I did appreciate reading through these emails that there was possession taking over the fact that it was not listed. I did appreciate that. That was very humbling. But I will make a motion to approve to add the firewall and remote access for $1,020 and water system pressure and flow control for the $6,595.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And I will also make a motion to approve item number 197, the invoice for Nero Engineering for the project total of $19,540.
Second.
Alright, well, that motion made and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the lift station. Looks like we're going to, you guys will be doing some bid opening on September 10th. And then we need to have another meeting set up for approval to keep the project on schedule. Did anybody come prepared for have you thought about what date might work better? I know I kind of would like the 22nd more than the 15th, but. Did you have any conflicts, Angela?
So it's, yeah, the week of the 14th or the 15th, 16th.
15th or the 22nd is what was on here.
Yeah,
Do it after your EDA or?
right after that, that's what I would
Is that
suggest
the
too,
22nd?
because
Work good, yeah,
Okay.
22nd.
Okay.
That works.
I think that works well, 'cause we're,
And I'll be here on
few
the
of us are
15th,
here.
so.
Okay. Well, let's shoot for that then. Judy would be at EDA anyway, so.
I didn't think.
Would that start at like the 5:30?
That's what we typically.
Yeah, I must have that for me.
I'll just push.
Anything else that we need to address on the main lift station, we'll probably get more
Well,
information.
I do think they want some approval on these generators. Last time we tabled it because we were getting some costs on the natural gas, and I did include in there that email that I had sent about the different scenarios, but it came down to such a high expense monthly to have a meter per year just there because you might use it, because you're not using it that much, so even Darren said it's just not worth it, we'll deal with the diesel and cycling it and stuff, so I think they want to have approval on that so we can move forward with getting those in order too, so we're not waiting so long for them. So they're both listed there, the water plant one and then the main lift one, totally $144,566.
When we talked about adding this to the project, we decided not to do that. Is there like an add to bond, we decided not to do that?
Yeah, well, we will, because when I talked to Jason Murray with finances, once we get these bids that we're gonna open, then we can lump it all together and say we need a bond for X. So these bids, even though we're saying we're buying them, we're basically ordering them, and he's saying 4 to 6 months before we give them, we're not paying for them until that happens. So,
Okay.
yeah. And then the main lift one, when we did the first phase of the main lift, we did do a bond, and we still have some money left in there, so we'd be able to pay for that part of it. But it's just the water plant one that, with these meters and all that, I don't think we're gonna have enough to pay for that too, and the installation.
Make a motion to approve the purchase of the lift station generators from CAT at $144,566.
Second.
All right, the motion was made and seconded for the generators, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Beautification team, I do have Amber was not able to make it. I asked her if she had anything, and she said, we do not have anything pressing. We are working on a design for the outlook that will be done next spring, and just wanted to move the one building from Park Osakis to the beach where we could pour a concrete slab and buy a couple more tables. But she doesn't need any direction on that right now. It's just the works, but I just wanted to make you aware of it since she sent me that in a text. So just food for thought then. And I'm sure she can report more at the next meeting, so. We will just move on to parks unless anyone has any other comments about beautification. Okay. Committee, we've got the minutes to approve, and they are still looking for a few more sponsors for the bikes at $250 per side. They already have 5 sides reserved. If you're interested, call City Hall. And then the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the park minutes from 8/26/25.
All right. Motion was made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we are now at the point for public comment. We will open up the floor now if anyone is here who does not have any items on the agenda. Now would be your time to speak.
I have a couple things I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Am I supposed to come up there?
You sure can.
Okay. So I'm Michelle Ward, for those of you who don't know me. I am a member of the Idlewild Association, and I'm on the board also as the secretary. And I know that the city has recently purchased the lot that is part of our association. So that lot is considered an associate member, and they pay half of an annual due. And they have access to the common grounds and our dock and their spot for a lift. But I guess I'm wondering, well, the whole association is wondering what the plans are for that lot. If that's gonna be a house built there, or they're gonna be multi-unit.
House is the plan, but
So,
We just, the EDA purchased it so we can have some got to meet empty lots just sitting without houses on it. So we purchased this, then we resell it. We'll have the stipulations that we want somebody to build on.
okay, so.
I don't think it's big enough for multifamily, I don't see us going that way, but we just want to, one person on the committee, so.
Okay, so, the plan though is that you're just gonna resell to private, so the city's not gonna be involved in building anything on it, or?
Just depends on, I can't say.
I know,
I don't know.
the sale just went through last week.
Yeah, I can't predict the future, we will do whatever we have to build it. So is that helping somebody get it built? You know, we have grants and stuff like that, if anybody's wants to build on it, we surely can help that route. Our goal is a house.
A house, okay,
Yeah,
that's single family home, okay, that's good to know. And another item with the association, we have a big lodge out front that is vacant, it's been vacant for a number of years, and we really want to know what we can do, what our steps are to move forward with, I don't know, if condemning it or what can be done with it. Right now, it's owned by Jim Lay, and Harley Brown is the taxpayer. He purchased, I think, like 3 years ago for a CD, a contractor deed, and he has not been around for, haven't seen him for probably 3 years. He started doing things but never completed anything. And the lodge is not paying the annual dues, and we've got like 50 grand of liens against the lodge for the annual dues that haven't been paid, and also all of the improvements we've made to the association that the lodge hasn't been paying for, so we wanna know what we can do with the lodge, if anything can be done.
My experience is a civil matter, and I don't know how much the city can be involved.
Okay. So, do you know who we go to?
I
Like,
mean, you could try to contact our building inspector and do an inspection and you know, help you with assessing its safety,
okay,
that route. I'm sure we could do help with that, but as far as, you know, there's any legalities and stuff like that, it's not a city property.
so.
I don't know, unless somebody else got a different opinion.
The city is not responsible for condemning a home or anything like that?
The building inspector, I believe, would be where it would have
Okay,
to start to get involved.
He would have to do an inspection, condemn it, but then it takes the next step of if it needs to be tore down, somebody has to do it. With if the owner's not gonna do it, then somebody else has to do it and pay for it.
okay, and yeah, and we don't want the association to be responsible for paying for that, so,
Which is typically why the city doesn't get involved, cause then we're paying taxpayer dollars to tear it down and we're not, it's not our property, we try to entice people to do something because their property is in poor shape and they need to take care of it, but if we go tear it down, then we're paying for it as a city and probably not gonna recoup those funds.
I heard some talk about doing a controlled burn on that property, but I'm not sure who had discussed that or anything, if that's anything the city.
It'd have to be condemned first before the police, before the fire department come in and do that. It's also in close proximity, so they do that at some, but you gotta go through this first, cause somebody else owns the house and the fire department burns it down, they're not gonna do that.
So the building inspectors who we need to talk
I
to.
think that's a good.
Yeah.
Is it still Michael Fredericks?
Yeah, well, yeah, Michael is residential and then there's a commercial side, but I would start with him, Michael
Okay.
Fredericks. He's on our website, otherwise we do have cards up at the front window there you can grab from him.
Alrighty,
At least see what he can do.
so start there.
Yeah.
And we have had the police look around. I know there've been multiple complaints from other association members over the past like 5-8 years. Recently, all they said was to renew a permit for doing work on the place, so I don't know if talking to the police at all is anything. That's what I was directed to before.
The only if you're gonna do something, you would have to get a permit to do anything, but
So, yeah,
I don't know why they would have done.
Yeah, when I called the city last time, they said the police would have to come and do a walk around.
So are they on the administration?
My list was very, I mean, we have, some an enforcement list where we're trying to, and the police is in charge of trying to get people to fix their houses. and that kind of stuff, so.
Yeah, cause I know there are a lot of things
Yeah, it's
on
on
the
there.
list.
It's on there, so it's on our radar.
Okay,
It's
It's
a process that we
pending.
have to go through.
What does it say, pending?
Pending November reissued building permit, and the thing is, if they're working on it and they show some progress, it's hard to, I guess, tell them that that's not fast enough progress.
well, that's it, they haven't done anything. They've had shingles sitting out there for 3 years.
Yeah.
And they did have a dumpster that's been taken away a year or so ago. So, and we can't reach Harley, and he hasn't paid his taxes at all for years. So
Unless you get the county to,
so you think
Take
the county is,
they've done that on other lots in town, so
Okay.
if they would take it, then they could.
Do you know if he's paying taxes on his portion?
no, he's not.
After 7 years, then that would be tax forfeited too, and the county would have it, but
It's like nobody wants it.
then the county would take it over.
And then they would
Um,
take care of it.
Yeah. I would talk to the building inspector, because he needs to do that, it's not your property to go in and check it, so they have to get the okay to go and inspect it, being that it might be a public nuisance, and that's the first step, he has to write up a letter. But then it has to come to council adopting that it is a condemned property, and he has to do such and such with it, or rectify it, and there's certain steps that need to be done.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I will contact the building inspector.
That would be your other first step, then.
Okay, and then I can find that information on the city website.
Yeah.
His
or
phone
just
number.
business card.
Yeah.
like by a window where you walk in where the guys sit.
Okay.
You know.
So I think that's all I have.
Let us know, I hope you get some.
It's been tough,
Yeah.
yeah, because we're trying really hard to make the area look nice.
Yeah.
We've spent $100,000 on the place, and we've got this big, huge eyesore out front.
What about the septic hookup that you mentioned?
The what?
That was the septic to the city.
Well, we've had some issues with our sewer. We had our sewer redone, and the hookup to the city is 4 inches, and they started at 6-inch pipe and went down 4, and we're getting backups, but we're talking with Ferguson on the work first, and then they are gonna resolve it. We'll see if there's anything the city could help us with. So, but first up, we're talking with contractor to do the work, so.
Okay.
But, all right, that's good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else for public comment?
I was just wondering if there was any update on the water situation. Anybody talked to Darren about behind my building?
We're still working on the area where the sewer could be possibly extended to the drain.
That's the last I ever heard from him.
And then when I made the packets, he was on vacation all week, so I didn't talk to him to get an update, so.
Can I just get it moved to unfinished business so I don't have to keep bringing it up and?
Well, it is on the top of there, it was under their consent agenda, just as an update, but,
Okay.
we'll keep it on there until we get some answers.
Okay, sounds good. And then, keep in mind, I know that you have had a trunk or treat, but October 31st, we're gonna do another trunk or treat downtown, down central. So if anybody is interested in getting a trunk or treat together, can I do that? It'll be here before you know
And is that usually from 3 to 5?
it. Typically, but because of the school, I think we talked about moving it. We'll have a chamber meeting now, the last, not this Wednesday, next Wednesday, and we'll pick times for sure, and then we'll post it on Facebook and advertise it a little bit more, but, it's hard with the school to have it that early.
Yeah. I know, so my daughter usually takes our kids, go down Central, and then they walk up to the Galleon and go say hi to all the grandmas and grandpas up there. So it works out great. It's good for them, gets them.
Right, but the teachers like to have a trunk down here too, so
Oh,
for them to
sure.
come down and to get a trunk ready when they don't get out of school until 3.
Absolutely.
So I think, I'm gonna propose to the board starting it a little bit later,
Very nice.
just a little.
Yeah.
To give them some time to get a trunk down and set
Absolutely.
up.
Well, that and even to give kids a chance to get home from the bus.
Right, or change, whatever.
Yeah, very nice. Well, thank you for doing that again.
Anything else for open floor? Now we will continue moving on to the next side of our agenda here. Levine's Lakeview Drive. Council discussed Levine's on 8/25 as part of the budget discussion. The council did not have funds budgeted to complete the project. This may have to be looked at in the future. The city spent $7,750 on gravel and $3,000 on a feasibility study for 2025. I'm sure you have a comment.
Yeah,
And I don't mean that in a negative way, but I know that's why you're here, so.
well, I did wanna make one comment, just because of the meeting a month ago, where you got a reply or whatever from NBC Drainage, but you said no comment from Punky. So, and, they didn't reply. So I did see Punky and I mentioned it to him, well, you didn't reply, and he goes, well, I was only supposed to reply for Pike Street, which I gave back to Darren. And so he didn't even know he was supposed to do something for Levine Drive. So I said, oh, okay. So just for future, Darren or whoever, maybe if they don't hear a reply, maybe could do a follow-up a week later, just to make sure, on anything, different situations or whatever. But the last meeting, I thought also NBC Drainage was gonna be doing something, cleaning the ditches or the culverts. Is that not a goal right now, or?
Yeah, that is, I wanna say September, sometime in September they come up. I can't remember the date that Darren said. But they are coming
To do
to do that.
Because, obviously we've had a lot of rain and
Right.
more is coming again,
Yeah.
maybe not hopefully. But, just to keep at least some of the water trying to get away flowing.
And I was very confused at that last meeting too. That was, the NBC drainage thing was already approved
For the Queen Street.
for the Queen Street one,
Mm-hmm.
but apparently Darren was just gonna have him go over and do that one too.
That's what I understood,
So there wasn't no other bid to be. Or no, that bid was for all the extra work.
The extra work there.
All,
Yeah,
that's what
he
it
was just gonna
Yeah,
clean
I'm
up
still
the
confused.
areas that flow under, he wasn't gonna do all that digging, that was the extra work.
Right.
It wasn't
And
gonna,
he just decided that if we don't have the money in our budget to do it anyways, why waste somebody else's time to come out there and give us bids when.
so we're not gonna
Can't.
have our culverts
The culverts will be, yes,
flushed out.
that bid that day was for, a month ago, was for the extra drain
New
tile.
tile,
Oh,
new
extra.
tile.
Yes.
Okay,
Dig up people's yards and put more tile in.
Okay.
Whatever, that's what that bid was for, and I was confused that day too,
okay.
so.
So, and then, just because this, I can talk, but, for the future, was it brought up a couple months ago that, like, next spring, if we any of us residents see any frost boils or whatever, we're supposed to contact you right away, right?
Yep.
Correct?
Buster
And so,
Darren or, yeah,
maybe something could be done at that point, because you would see them.
Yep.
It would be noted,
yep, we need
right?
to know where they're at, yep, for sure.
Okay, so as far as just seeing what's gonna be done now is just the cleaning of the existing ones, and that's all that's gonna be done
Yep.
so far, okay, but hopefully in the spring, if we see some frost boils and make a note of it, maybe we might work on that then?
Yeah.
Maybe, okay, just wanna make, cause I get asked quite often, so, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Snow removal ordinance. Item 203. It was suggested that we read this ordinance. Anyone wanna read it?
Maybe that's our shit, welcome.
Okay, ordinance number 143, we're officially reading this for the record then.
yes,
General regulations, streets, sidewalks, and public improvements. Duty of owners and occupants, the owner and the occupant of any property adjacent to a public sidewalk shall use diligence to keep the sidewalk safe for pedestrians. No like owner or occupant shall allow dirt or rubbish to remain on the walk longer than 24 hours after its deposit thereon. Duty of the owners and occupants regarding removal of snow and ice. The owner and the occupant of any property adjacent to the public sidewalk shall use diligence to keep the walk safe for pedestrians by removing snow and ice. No like owner or occupant shall allow snow or ice to remain on the sidewalk longer than 24 hours after its deposit thereon on the following streets. Olive Nokomis, also known as Douglas County 82, Main Street between Second Avenue West and First Avenue East, Oak Street between Central Avenue and Second Avenue East, Pike Street between First Avenue East and Second Avenue East, Olive First Avenue East, Olive Central Avenue, Olive First Avenue West, Olive Second Avenue West, Olive Third Avenue West. Main Street or County Road 3 to Second Avenue West. And then we've got item C, removal by the city. The city shall designate officials who shall remove from all public sidewalks identified in Division B above, all snow and ice as soon as possible, beginning 24 hours after any like matter has been deposited thereon or after the snow has ceased to fall. The city council shall also designate officials who shall remove the dirt and rubbish from all public sidewalks, including but not limited to those identified in Division B above. The cost for such removal by the city shall be assessed pursuant of this section and 90.01. The city officials shall keep a record showing the cost of the removal adjacent to each separate lot and parcel and shall deliver the information to the city clerk/treasurer. Adopted by the city council this 8th day of September 2025. Okay. We officially have that read. You'll also see that there is, I'm assuming this is going to be in our newsletter, as a reminder to shovel the sidewalks. For sake of sidewalks, please keep them safe and pleasant for everyone. It will list all this, just as a reminder. It's a good neighborly thing to do. And there are going to be, we're trying to find some assistance for some of those that live on 82 with the several times going.
Yeah, I've had a couple people raise some concerns about it, and we had talked about, during the bigger snowfalls that they would come and blow out along 82 because the county comes through so much. And then he was gonna talk to the county about there are several passes and might be a little bit of a trial and error to try and figure out how we can get that taken care of because it is more roadway and the county comes through more often. But then the property owner would be responsible to clean up after that. So when they go and blow it, it's not completely gone. They would just have to clean up what's there. So that's something we're gonna have to see with the county and how it works. If it's only a little bit of snow or dusting, it's still the property owner's responsibility. They might not go out and plow snow in a quarter of an inch or half an inch, they still have to clean that up. So that's what we have to, figure out as we go, I guess, that part.
All right, well, we got that read and we'll move on. The crosswalks, when I spoke with Judy, she said she would like to just table this. She had asked about this and she wanted to talk about it at.
Can we get a motion on the ordinance? I know we approved the last one, but now that you read it, I just want an official approval. If that's where you want to go.
Motion to approve the snow removal ordinance.
Second.
Motion made and seconded for the snow removal ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to table crosswalks.
Second.
Made and seconded, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Next item on the agenda is the fee schedule, and we we should be reviewing this for 2026. If you note, there's a column for the changes, and this can be a working document. I believe we approved these.
In January, we approve it, and I do have each department head's gotten their information to look and see if the rates we're charging are sufficient to cover their guys' time and the cost of their equipment and or so, whatever it might be that they have in here, so they're all supposed to look at it, and review it.
What was to adopt those in for 2026. Number 408, the vacating street or alley, which is you, Tom.
Yep, let me focus.
Sure. Little bit of information on the background. I'll just read this for everyone's information. The city has received a petition from Tom Van Boris requesting to vacate 10 feet of the right-of-way located on the east side of 7th Avenue East. This portion of the street is at the end of 7th. Runs into Lake Osakis just south of Park Osakis. Tom went to planning and zoning, and he was suggested to come here to talk about the street vacancy.
Okay, so we actually have the house at 703, we bought the property at 701. To be honest, I just kind of assumed after looking at the property that we were gonna have plenty of room to build. Later, after doing some research and survey, found out that actually over half of the garage was actually on the city property, which is pretty common for back then, and fence line isn't anywhere close to the property line either. Went to planning and zoning, and they just said that, so in order to keep the garage so that we would enter off 7th Avenue, not Lake Street, when you turn the garage to keep the integrity of the house, that garage butts out about 5 feet, so the actual house itself is 40 feet wide, which would fit on a lot. But then there's an overhang with the garage, and so they suggested I came here to look at vacating it. And then somebody else asked and said, well, if you're going to do this, you should ask for 10 feet, because I don't know if they gave you a look at it, but the house that we're in at 703, years ago, they asked the Converse family for a variance and got it, and so their garage, the garage on our current house, was added to the house and basically sits on the property line. And so, by getting a couple extra feet, then we can actually move the house away, so it maybe aesthetically looks a little bit more pleasing than having these two houses that are 5 feet apart. And Steve, I think that's his name, and he said that if you actually go 5 feet or less, that you have to upgrade that wall and make it a different level of a firewall, just in case. Anyway, that's why we're here trying to, we took the house, I don't know if all of you know, but I mean, that was the Converse house that we picked up and had moved down the road, and now that open lot is where we're trying to build our retirement home here on the lake, so that's why we're doing it.
If you have a comment from Delheimer, who's the chair of the board, if anybody wants to hear it, says he thinks we should support it, to kind of paraphrasing here. Somehow support or work with the building owner to make something happen there. That's basically what he says here. He realizes that it's kind of a narrow lot. But we haven't had any planning and zoning meetings because we're short one and then we can cancel another one. Part of the reason I went there. So he contacted me because he knew that they were gonna be here tonight.
And so Angela, this was similar to what we did on K Street.
K Street, and then for Kevin Hagelin asked for a portion, so what he's asking for, if you look at the map, you know, there's a full easement that goes from Lake Street all the way to the lake. And he's asking for basically 10 feet to widen that lot a little bit, allow that garage to be on his property and have a little bit more room. So the process, as I laid out in there, is the council just kind of accepting the petition And then that triggers kind of going through that process, we have to send out letters, we have to notify property. Because it's in shoreline, DNR has to have 60 days to review it before we have the hearing. And then I would ask Tom then to get us an official survey, because right now he has kind of his design, and I said, well, if you guys move forward, then we need an official survey with a legal description that we can then vacate that portion of it. And typically what we've done is we do that, and then it's up to them to claim it, so the city's not spending their money trying to help them claim the property.
How much do we do on K when we did it that time? I can't remember.
How much do we vacate?
Yeah.
When we did K Street, all the way from the property to the lake was,
That's right.
the right of way, and we left 15 feet for the road, so I would say there was between 50 and 30 feet, depending on how the shoreline was in each property.
How about for Kevin? I think that's the one I was trying to think of.
Kevin, we did, I think, 5 feet, and then later we did, you know how it comes in and then it turns. That street was all the way down, and we vacated from the lake up to K Street too. So we did for him, his house, 5 feet.
5 feet.
And I think we already have the survey, the legal survey done. I mean, and I don't know if that's,
Yeah,
I
it
think
would be
when-
like a legal survey, but then there's usually a lot of words they write up with it that tells me from this area to this.
The lot
yeah,
description.
it's a
That's what
separate
I need.
one. I got that, okay, yeah.
I need
The
that,
lot description and all that, yeah,
yeah, what you're vacating that describes that area.
okay.
I'd make a motion to accept the petition. Vacate.
I would second it personally. Justin's input.
Yeah.
Motion was made and seconded, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
We'll get you moving on.
Okay, and then I just stay in touch with you. You want me to bring that survey in
If you
sooner?
could, yeah, yes,
Okay.
that helps me write up my letters.
Okay, I can do that. Thank you.
What's your plan for the other house?
That's the one that we've actually been in there since '96, and right now I think my wife would have a hard time getting rid of that, so I think we'll keep that for the kids and
Okay.
maybe have other people that have relatives come in and use it down the line.
Alright.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Next on the agenda. 124, the welcome sign. MnDOT has a permit for the sign to be renewed February 2026. And we received a call from MnDOT stating that they will be renewing our permit to include both signs. One on the interstate and the other on the east side. The sign on Highway 27 and Lake Street seems to be splitting in the middle. This may need to be looked at before the permit is renewed.
And I did have Darren look at that, and it was kind of like the top was going like this, but he thought they could put some screws in it and put it back in place. So I don't think he's doing anything with it. Officially, but this gentleman talked to me, and if we're all okay, he'll send us the draft for the next meeting for us to review for their agreement, and it'll be with both signs.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, next item, 310 is Black's Resort. Neil Meyer would like to request to block Lake Street on the 5th to remove docks. The Black's Resort, as they do every year.
So,
Made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Project 242, we have West Central Initiative. It looks like our annual fee is increasing. So it's just general information.
Yes, yeah, the EDA will get the same information.
All right. Next item is the special event application, and I know this got put on the table, so I don't know if you had a chance to review it. I would assume it's similar to what they've done in years past? Did they say anything that was different from?
No, it's just gonna start at the school, they wanna go to First Avenue, Rush Street East, from Rush Street to North, to Central Avenue, Main Street West and South, plus First Avenue West, so they kinda wanna just kind of make a block around and back at the school. And so, being it is a county road, they do have to block county road, and their requirements is to have the insurance and to get the approval, so we did talk to them today, because they weren't aware that they would have to do that, and I said, well, if you're going on county roads, then they're required, if they wanna keep somewhere else, then it wouldn't need to be required, so at this point, they're still moving forward with this design they had on the back there, you can see a little map of, they're going up across and then back down, and all of our downtown is county roads, Lake Street's county road, Main Street's county road, and 82 is all county roads, so. Otherwise, it's just typical homecoming parade, for different slopes they are.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We are at the end of our agenda. Is there any topic that I've missed or anything?
I have one more thing, Laura, if I may.
Sure.
So I heard this week, and I didn't put it in your packet because it slipped my mind. We had received the grant from the Tier 2 Housing Rehab Grant. I mentioned this to the EDA, but that was a grant that we put in to build 5 homes, and so we received $40,000 a home to build this in our community. So they only gave away $800,000 in our district, and we received $150,000 of it for $30,000 for 5 homes. So they did award us that contract, so that would be something that we work on this fall and can start implementing in the spring. So I just wanted that to be known to everybody. So of the other cities that got it, there's only one other city that got 150, everybody else got under $100,000, so I did pretty good. Good job. Yeah, and one thing I did miss in the budget thing is we're supposed to set our date for our truth and taxation in December. And if you'd like, I can reach out and see what works for everybody, but we talked about having it the same day as our meeting on Monday, or changing it to Wednesday. If you guys have a preference of doing that, so it'll be in December. Let me see what, our normal meeting is the 8th. Yeah,
What's the, we have a meeting on the 3rd?
we're having one on the 3rd, a
Yes.
closed meeting, yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. And I feel like in the past, we've changed it because it tends to conflict with.
With the school and some of the concerts, because it is our public hearing for truth and taxation. Whether that matters or not, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Sometimes I think it's a challenge, but we can try to change it, or I can just say it's gonna be on the 8th with our regular meeting. You can have it at a different day if you want, we've just always done it at our meeting and just had it part of our regular meeting. So, I need to notify them the end of September with my preliminary levy, because they put it on all the tax statements, so.
I don't know, I just feel like December is so busy anyway, I don't
wanna
really
do
want to
more.
have another meeting.
Yeah,
Leave it at the 8th.
So that would be my
just
thought.
do that time, okay. We'll set it
I
for
mean,
the 8th.
they can submit written
Yes.
information to the council if they want. If they absolutely can't make it, it's such a busy month that.
I know.
You want a motion on that?
That would be great.
Okay, I'll make a motion to have our truth and taxation meeting along with our monthly meeting December 8th.
Second.
Made and seconded for our meeting to truth and taxation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Anything else?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Seconded for this meeting to adjourn, 8:05.
So what you see on your
All in
phone.
favor, say aye. Opposed?
Not what I thought it would be.
I didn't hear any.